Morning, guys. Thanks for tuning in. It is Wednesday, February 11th, and the sun comes up in 4 minutes. Well, technically. Purpose of this video, going to go through a little day in the life. I have 2 workouts planned. So going to go through just routine, training, as well as what I eat today. Looking forward to the eating video. I do not track calories ever. But I'm going to do that today, just for my own data, and maybe to share some tips and some food metrics with y'all. Obviously, right now I'm getting ready for a run. It snowed a few inches last night. So TBD on the road conditions. I'm wearing speed goats, but this is not going to be a fast workout. Hammered quads yesterday, so will be a good opportunity to just get some air in the lungs. I'm going to bring Charlie for the first couple miles and then probably take off on my own. What have I put in my body so far? First thing always starts with 1/4 teaspoon of salt and creatine. That's law. I've had half a banana this morning. I'm not super concerned with my fuel intake. This is going to be an easy recovery run. So I'd be just as good doing it fasted. So hope you enjoy the video. Let's get started. All right, morning run is complete. I ended up going 6.82 at an 8:40 pace, which for me, not bad, considering the inclement weather. Hit quads yesterday, but it was a really beautiful run. It's currently 27 degrees, which, well below freezing, is well above what it has been. You might have noticed I switched out my outfit after dropping Charlie off because I was getting so warm. It was the same run, I promise. You know, the whole nation's been frozen. It feels like it hasn't cracked 20 in a month. So that was really refreshing, especially with the fresh snowfall, running past everyone with their snow blowers and shovels out. Feels like it brings the community together. A little bit more volume and intensity than I was kind of anticipating. But that's my favorite kind of run. You know, you go out without a super concrete plan, go by feel. I was feeling good, enjoying the weather, and just decided to go for a little bit longer. It took 59 minutes. I'm glad I had that half a banana. I could have done it fasted. That's sort of the area where calories start to make a difference. And if I had gone longer than an hour, I definitely would have wanted to prepare a little more. All in all, really nice run. Next thing, stretch out, make some breakfast, and get to work. All right, let's go. Time for meal numero uno. Real quick, we got 2 slices of sourdough, serving of butter, serving of peanut butter, and a serving of honey. 6 eggs, topped with kimchi and some Frank's hot sauce, and then about 8 ounces of 2% milk. I finished that banana a minute ago. Total macros for breakfast: 59 grams of protein, 109 grams of carbs, and 62 grams of fat. This is going to be a good meal. Let's chow. All right, on to meal number two. Before I tell you the ingredients and the macros, I just walked my dog and beforehand did the 10-minute non-sleep deep rest with Huberman, and damn, I would wanting to kind of try that for a while, but it was trippy. One of those things where you're like connecting to the different parts of your body, um, sort of similar to like certain yoga practices. But anyway, that was freaking sweet. What have I been up to today? Just for a little context, I do unfortunately work a corporate job, so I'm working from home today, which is a blessing. I do that 3 times a week. So that's what I've been doing between meal one and now. And without further ado, it's time for meal two. Really, the hybrid athlete, sort of Chad goated meal, beef and rice. So I have probably a little more than half a cup of basmati. I have about 10 ounces of ground beef and then half an avocado. These measurements are not totally precise. I prepared this food a few days ago. And this is a meal prep / leftover. Initially, it was 80/20 beef. I cooked it and strained the heck out of it, which obviously removed a lot of the fat content. And so, based on that, I put into the macro tracker, thinking it's closer to like 90/10 now. That said, it also lost some of the weight and therefore some of the nutrition and protein. So, anyway, estimating those quantities, I think that we're pretty close in reality. This comes out to 71 grams of protein, 112 grams of carbs, and 48 grams of fat, and is about 1,170 calories altogether. I'm going to put on some everything but the bagel seasoning and then douse it in Frank's hot sauce. One thing that I do want to point out is be smart with your portions. Obviously, I'm a very active person, particularly today. I'm going to be running, or I did run. I'm going to get an intense lift in later. And just sort of day to day, that's kind of my MO. So, eat the calories to support your lifestyle. My lunch is about 1,200 calories. My breakfast was about 1,200 calories. So just be smart and eat within your sort of activity level and means. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy this, get back to work, and hydrate and mentally prepare for my lift later today. It's going to be a fun one. Last meal of the day. It's beef and rice again. I know. What an insane thing to do. Eat the same thing for lunch and dinner. I sort of had it in my mind that I was going to go to the grocery store after training this afternoon. That didn't happen. I have to confess, and don't worry, I tracked it, but I had a beer with a friend after my training session. So after work today, I went into the gym. I trained a client. Yes, I'm a part-time personal trainer. Got to apply this knowledge somewhere. Ended up swinging by the local dive and meeting a buddy for an IPA, which was really nice. I'm not going to hide that sort of behavior because I think it's really healthy and a lovely way to spend a brief cherry on top of a Wednesday afternoon. But anyway, last meal of the day, beef and rice, kimchi, Frank's, broccoli, pretty much the same thing I had earlier. So 79 grams of protein, 18 grams of carbohydrates, and 37 grams of fat. Like I said, I tracked the IPA. It's like 200, 300 calories. They're dense, but I did have 3 grams of protein, so perhaps not all is lost. It is currently 7:59 p.m. I am I try to eat my last meal at about 8 o'clock, or should I say my last bit of food. Ideally, I would have had this at 7 and then squeezed in some sort of a Greek yogurt parfait for dessert. I don't really think that's necessary. Tracking calories is not something I typically do. But now I've done it for the day, and I'm happy to share that the result is satisfactory. Totals for the day: 212 grams of protein. I weigh 180 pounds. That's awesome. 364 grams of carbs. That seems okay. Maybe a little low, honestly. And 147 grams of fat for a total calorie consumption of 3,810. This really was not an out of the ordinary day at all. And so I think, within a certain margin of error, pretty representative of my typical intake in a day. I haven't been gaining or losing weight. And so this is sort of a typical maintenance day. Really good to know. Really excited about the protein intake because I didn't really go out of my way to hit that. And this doesn't count the protein shake that I had after the gym. Forgot to track it. Plus 25, 237 grams of protein. All right, time for the closer on this video. Made it through the full day of eating, sort of walked you through my training for the day. Really don't intend to include a lot of in-gym content, more so my endurance training. But overall, a fun video to make. Definitely learned a few tricks, picked up a few things not to do. And so just wanted to close with this thought, sort of related to learning and refining. So it's about a pottery class. The teacher splits the class into two groups and gives them separate assignments. One group, their assignment is to create one pot. You have, 3 weeks. He wants you to pour all your effort into this one pot, making sure that it comes out near perfect as possible. Now, the other group, their assignment is to make as many pots as they can in that 3-week period. And so after 3 weeks, both groups come back with all of their work. The first group comes with their single pot that they've been working on, and the second group comes back with their collection, including their best works out of the myriad or high number that they made. And what the professor found was that the group that made many different pots and iterated had the better final product. And so the moral of that story is just not that quantity beats quality, but from a growth perspective, repetition and consistency is going to have a better outcome than obsessing over one or sort of a smaller set of instances. And that can apply to individual workouts. It can apply to content creation. It can apply to relationship building. And so just a reminder to be patient with yourself. Use failure. Failure is a tool. And just make a lot of pots. Make a lot of pots, and eventually you'll get good at it. Peace.